What I am about to do in your life is going to shock you, not because I am unpredictable or because I enjoy surprises for their own sake, but because what I am preparing for you is so far beyond what you have allowed yourself to hope for that when it arrives, you will not have a category for it. You have been praying careful prayers, measured prayers. Prayers that asked for enough but not too much. Prayers that kept the ceiling low because the distance between where you are and where you want to be has started to feel embarrassing to name out loud. You have been editing your requests down to what feels realistic, trimming the dream to a size that seems achievable, protecting yourself from the disappointment of asking for the full thing and not receiving it. I see you doing that. And I need you to stop, because what I am about to do does not fit inside the edited version. What I am bringing requires the full-sized faith, the unguarded hope, the dream you stopped letting yourself dream because it felt too large and too far away and too much like something that happened to other people. That dream was not too large. It was not an embarrassment. It was a glimpse of something I placed in you, a preview of something real, and I need you to pick it back up because I am getting ready to move. My dear child, I need you to understand something about this season you are in right now. I know it does not feel like a season of acceleration. I know it has felt, if anything, like a season of stillness, of waiting, of the same ground covered again and again without visible progress. I know the days have blurred together in ways that make it hard to feel like anything is building. But I need to tell you what I see from where I am standing, because what I see and what you feel are two very different things right now. What I see is a setup. What I see is a before. What I see is the last few frames of a story that is about to turn in a direction that you did not see coming, that the enemy did not see coming, that the people around you did not see coming, and that you yourself will look back on one day as the moment everything changed. This is that moment, not the moment after the next thing happens. This moment, the quiet one, the still one, the one that felt like nothing was moving. This is the before that makes the after make sense. And the after is closer than you think. I want to talk to you about what I see when I look at your life right now, because I think the gap between what I see and what you see is at the heart of why this season has been so difficult. You have been looking at your life through the lens of what has not yet happened. Through the absence of the thing you are waiting for, the unfulfilled promise, the unanswered prayer, the version of your life that has not materialized, yet despite your faithfulness and your effort and your holding on. And when you look through that lens, everything that is present gets overshadowed by everything that is missing. The ground you have covered becomes invisible next to the ground you have not yet reached. The ways you have grown become hard to see next to the ways you still feel incomplete. The faithfulness you have already demonstrated becomes easy to dismiss compared to the outcome you are still waiting for. But I am not looking at your life through that lens. I am looking at it through the lens of everything I have already placed in you, everything I have already built in this season of preparation, and everything I am about to release into your story. And from that vantage point, what I see is someone who is ready. Someone who has been made ready by exactly the process they have been walking through, whether or not it felt like preparation from the inside. You are more ready than you know. And what I am about to release is going to find someone prepared to receive it. I want to speak to you about the dreams you have been carrying. Not the small practical ones, but the large ones. The ones that live in the deepest part of your imagination and that you take out and look at in private, but rarely speak about out loud because they feel too big, too bold, too much like wishful thinking for someone in your current circumstances. The dream about the impact you wanted to have. The dream about the life that was possible if the right doors opened. The dream about the version of yourself that was operating in the full expression of everything I placed in you, not straining against limitations, but moving freely in the thing you were made for. I know that dream. I know it because I gave it to you. I placed it in you before you were born as a compass, as a picture of the direction your life was always meant to move in, as a glimpse of the destination, so that even when the road was long and hard to read, something in you would keep pointing toward where you were always going. That dream is not too large. It was never too large. It was proportional to what I intended. And I need you to hear me say clearly, I have not forgotten it. I have not downsized it. I have not revised the plan to something more modest because the timeline has taken longer than you expected. The dream is intact. And I am getting ready to move you toward it in ways that are going to require you to expand your capacity to receive, because what is coming is larger than the container you have been living in. I also want to speak to you about the obstacles that have made the dream feel impossible, the practical ones and the internal ones, the circumstances that seem to stand between where you are and where the dream lives, the resources that are not yet present, the doors that are not yet open, the connections that have not yet been made, the version of yourself that you feel you would need to be in order to step into the thing you are believing for, the confidence, the clarity, the credibility, the capacity that seems to still be in development. I see all of those obstacles. And I want you to hear me say something about each one of them. They are not final. They are not permanent. They are not verdicts on what is possible for your life. They are conditions of a current season and current season's end. The resources that are not present yet are being positioned. The doors that are not open yet are being prepared. The connections that have not been made yet are being arranged in a sequence that will feel, when it unfolds, less like coincidence and more like something that was always supposed to happen exactly this way. And the version of yourself that you feel you still need to become, you are becoming it right now, in this very season that has felt so unproductive. The becoming is happening in the quiet, and it is further along than you can feel from the inside. Let me tell you something about the enemy, because I think you need to understand what has been happening on that front in this season. The enemy has been more active in your life recently, not because he is winning, but because he is losing. He can see what I am preparing. He has watched what I have been building in you through this season of waiting and pressing and holding on, and he knows that what is about to emerge from this process is a serious threat to everything he has been building in the areas of your life where he has had influence. And so he has been working harder. The discouragement has been louder. The doubt has been more persistent. The exhaustion has been more deliberate. The whispers that you are too far behind, too ordinary, too damaged, too late have been more frequent and more aggressive than usual. But I need you to understand what that aggression means. It means you are close. It means the thing he is trying to prevent is about to happen. It means the acceleration I have been telling you about is real and is imminent, and he can see the timeline even if you cannot feel it yet. When the enemy doubles his efforts against you, it is not a sign that you are losing. It is a sign that you are on the verge of winning. Do not run from the resistance. Recognize it for what it is, evidence that you are about to break through something, and keep moving. I want to speak now about the people who are going to be part of what I am releasing into your life. Because what I am about to do is not going to happen in isolation. It is going to happen through relationships, through connections, through the specific people I am positioning to cross your path in this next season. Some of them you have not yet met. Some of them you have met, but have not yet recognized in their full significance. Some of them have been in your life for a while, but the timing of what they carry for you has not yet fully arrived. I am bringing people into alignment. People who carry what you need for the next chapter. People who will open doors that you could not open alone. People who will see in you what you have sometimes struggled to see in yourself, and who will call it out with a clarity and a conviction that will shift something in your sense of what is possible. I'm not asking you to search for these people or to manufacture the connections. I'm asking you to be present, to be open, to pay attention to the encounters that feel like more than coincidence, to receive the people I send with generosity and with expectation, because I am sending them with intention. Every significant connection in your next chapter is already in motion. The introductions are already scheduled. The meetings that will change things are already on the way. I want to address the part of you that is afraid to hope for the large thing because of what it cost the last time you hoped that way. The part of you that received a promise or believed for an outcome and then lived through the gap between the believing and the receiving in a way that left a mark. The part of you that is willing to hope at a modest level, but that flinches at full-scale expectation because the memory of full-scale disappointment is still present and still instructive. I want to speak tenderly to that part of you because it is not a failure of faith. It is a very human and very understandable response to a genuine experience of pain. But I also want to say something to it that is honest and important. Protecting yourself from disappointment by keeping the hope small does not actually protect you. It just trades one kind of pain for another. The pain of hoping and not receiving is real, but the pain of living inside a life that is smaller than it was meant to be because you kept the ceiling low, that pain is real too. And it is quieter and slower and harder to name, which makes it in some ways more damaging. I'm not asking you to be reckless. I'm asking you to let me be the one who carries the risk of the large hope, to give me the full-sized dream and let me be responsible for what happens with it. You bring the faith. I will handle the outcome. And what I am telling you today about the outcome is this. What I am about to do is going to be worth the hope it requires. I'm not going to disappoint you. Not this time. Not in this season. Not with this. Please know that every seed you plant in this mission grows into a torch that shines in someone else's darkness. Whether by buying a coffee, making a donation, or becoming a member of our community, your support does not go to a channel. Your actions are supporting a divine mission to save lost souls. But more than your support, we want your presence. When you head to our daily Light of Christ community through the link in the description or the pinned comment, you are not just visiting a site. You are entering a family of like-minded believers who are standing together in expectation of what God is about to do, who pray together and encourage each other and remind each other on the hard days that the breakthrough is close. This is a sanctuary where you can post your prayer requests, lift the burdens of others, and engage in daily discussions with people who speak the language of faith and who will stand with you in prayer when you do not have the strength to stand alone. Whether you are joining one of our membership tiers for deeper study, sowing a seed of faith, or simply joining our daily morning prayers, you are helping build a global altar of worship. Heaven moves through willing voices, but it grows through a community that stands together. Each gift you give reaches someone who is sitting right now exactly where you have been, carrying a dream they have almost stopped believing in, needing to hear that God is still moving. Your seed reaches them. Your presence changes things. Given it will be given to you, that is the promise that sustains this shared mission. Come with purpose. Join the conversation. Plant your seed in fertile ground. Let us open the heavens together. I want to take a moment and speak to you about the specific nature of what I am preparing, because I think vague promises of blessing have sometimes felt hollow to you, and I want to speak with more precision than that. What I am bringing into your life in this next season is not a single thing. It is a convergence. It is multiple streams that have been moving separately, each one developing at its own pace, each one building toward a moment when they meet. And when they meet, the result will be something that none of them could have produced individually. The relationship and the opportunity and the internal readiness and the open door, they have all been developing on separate tracks, and they are converging. Right now, in this season, they are moving toward the same point. And the moment they arrive together is the moment everything shifts. That is what a setup looks like from the inside. Not a single dramatic event, but a convergence of things that have been moving quietly for a long time, arriving together in a moment that feels sudden, but that was years in the making. That is what is coming for you, a convergence, and it is already in motion. I also want to speak to you about the version of your life that is on the other side of this convergence, because I want you to have a picture to hold onto in the days between now and when it arrives. The version of your life I am moving you toward is not unrecognizable. It is not a complete departure from everything you have known. It is the fullness of what was always there in seed form. It is the thing you always sensed was possible, now made actual. It is the capacity you always had, now fully expressed. It is the calling you always felt, now fully inhabited. It is you, more completely yourself than you have ever been, moving in what I made you for with a freedom and a confidence and a clarity that the long season of preparation has been building toward. That is the version of your life I am moving toward, and it is not a fantasy, it is a destination. And you are closer to it than the current season makes it feel. I want to speak now about gratitude, because I think gratitude is going to be one of the most important things you can carry into what is next. Not performed gratitude, not the kind that is said because it is expected, but the real and living kind that comes from genuinely recognizing what has already been given. Because here is something I need you to understand about the relationship between gratitude and what I am about to release. Gratitude is not a transaction. It is not a spiritual currency you spend to purchase more blessing, but it is a posture that opens the hands. Gratitude is the opposite of the clenched fist of scarcity, the tight grip of someone who is afraid that what they have will be taken and so cannot receive anything new because their hands are already full of protecting what they have. Gratitude opens the hands. It says, I see what you have given and I receive it fully, and I trust you with what comes next. And open hands are what I need you to have when the convergence arrives, because what is coming requires space to land. Not a heart braced for disappointment, but a heart open with expectation. Begin now. Begin today. Find the things in your current season, even the hard and incomplete season you are in right now, that are worth receiving with open hands. Practice the opening, so that when the fullness comes, you are ready to receive it without flinching. I also want to say something about the timeline, because I know the timeline is the thing that has been hardest to trust. You have been given a sense of what is coming, but not a date. You have been shown the destination, but not the exact arrival. You have been asked to hold onto a promise without a schedule attached, and that kind of holding on requires a particular type of trust that is genuinely difficult to sustain over a long period. I understand that. I'm not asking you to find it easy. I am asking you to keep choosing it even when it is hard, because the timing is not something I can fully hand over to you without removing something essential from the process. The exact timing of what I am releasing has been calibrated to the second, not to create suspense or to test your endurance for its own sake, but because the timing is part of what makes it work. What I am bringing needs to arrive when you are who you are becoming, not when you were who you used to be. It needs to arrive when the other pieces are in position, when the relationships are ready, when the doors are fully prepared to open. I'm not withholding anything out of indifference to your waiting. I am holding the timing because the timing is part of the gift. And the gift, when it arrives in its full form at its appointed moment, will make the waiting make sense in a way that nothing I could say today would fully convey. And I want to speak to the people around you who have watched this season and wondered, as you sometimes have, what is taking so long. The ones who have seen your faithfulness and the lack of visible result and have offered their interpretations, well-meaning or otherwise. The ones whose timelines looked faster and whose results looked more immediate, and whose voices have sometimes made the silence around your own story feel louder by comparison. I want to say something about them that is important. Their timelines are not your timelines. Their stories are not your story. The fact that something happened faster in someone else's life is not evidence that your pace is wrong. I am not running a competition. I am not releasing blessings on a first-come, first-served basis or rewarding the most visible faith with the earliest result. Every life I am involved in is its own story, with its own arc, with its own appointed moments, with its own specific timing that serves a purpose I have designed for that life alone. Your timeline is not late. It is yours. What I have planned for it was never available on someone else's schedule. I want to speak to you now about faith and what it actually looks like in a season of anticipation, because I think there is a version of faith that gets confused with passivity, and I want to address that confusion directly. Trusting me for what is coming does not mean sitting still and waiting for it to arrive without any participation on your part. The faith I am asking you to bring into this season is active faith. It is the faith that prepares, the faith that acts as though the promise is real before the evidence is visible, the faith that makes decisions based on where I am taking you rather than where you currently are. The faith that steps into the room as though the door is already open rather than standing outside waiting for proof that it will open before taking the step. That is the faith that moves things, not the faith that says I believe it will happen someday, but the faith that says I believe it is happening and I am going to live accordingly. I am asking you to bring that faith into the next season, not arrogance, not presumptuousness, but the genuine, active, forward-leaning trust of someone who has heard from God about what is coming and is choosing to align their posture with that word rather than with the current circumstances. I also want to speak about the way This season has been changing you in ways you cannot fully see from inside it. Seasons of waiting and pressing and holding on do not only build endurance, though they do that too. They build discernment. They build the ability to distinguish between what is real and what is performance, between what is of me and what is of the enemy, between what is worth pursuing and what is a distraction designed to pull you off the path I have set for you. The you that is emerging from this season has a clarity that the earlier version of you did not have. The noise that used to distract you has less power over you now. The voices that used to be able to move you off course have less influence than they once did. You have been refined in ways that are going to matter enormously in the next chapter, because what I am bringing requires someone who can carry it with wisdom, who can steward it with integrity, who can hold it without it becoming something that damages them or others. You have been being made into that person, and I am telling you today that the making is nearly complete for this phase. What is coming next is not going to find you unprepared. It is going to find exactly the person it needs. Let me speak to you about joy for a moment, because I think joy is something you have been rationing, keeping it small and cautious and conditional, available only when the circumstances seem to justify it, withheld when things are hard or uncertain or unresolved. And I understand why you have learned to manage joy that way. It has felt safer. It has felt like a way of protecting yourself from the crash that comes when the joy was large and the circumstances then shifted. But I want to invite you into something different. I want to invite you into the joy that is not dependent on the circumstances being right before it shows up. The joy that comes from knowing who I am and what I have said and what I am doing, rather than from what the current moment looks or feels like. That joy is available to you right now, not as a reward for the breakthrough having already arrived, but as a gift that is available in the waiting, in the preparation, in the before. It is the joy of someone who has heard the promise and believes it. The joy of someone who knows the ending even while they are still in the middle. That joy is not naive. It is not a denial of the difficulty. It is a choice to receive what I am offering even before the fullness of it has arrived. And it is yours today if you will reach for it. There is one more thing I want to say about what is coming that I have not yet said, and it is perhaps the most important thing. What I am about to do in your life is not just for you. It never was. What I am building in you and through you and around you has always had a reach that extends beyond the borders of your own story. The breakthrough you are moving toward is not just a personal victory. It is a platform. It is a testimony. It is a story that is going to reach people who are right now in the place you have been, carrying the same weights you have carried, asking the same questions you have asked, wondering the same things you have wondered in the dark. And your story, specifically your story, with all of its waiting and its faithfulness and its holding on and its eventual and unmistakable breakthrough, is going to be the word that lands in those people at exactly the right moment. I did not build this story for an audience of one. I built it for everyone your life is going to touch once the fullness of what I am releasing arrives. So when the weight of the waiting feels too personal, too small, too private to be worth the level of perseverance it requires, remember this. It is not just about you. It has never been just about you. And what I am preparing to release through your life is going to matter to more people than you currently have the capacity to imagine. Carry that. Let it be part of what keeps you standing in the days between now and when it arrives. I want to speak to the specific area of your life where the weight has been the longest and the heaviest, because I know it is not an even weight across everything. There is one particular thing, one specific prayer, one dream or desire or promise that has been at the center of the waiting more than anything else. You know what it is. You have known what it is for a long time. It is the thing you think about when you wake up and the thing you think about before you fall asleep. It is the thing you have brought to me more times than you can count, in more forms and with more desperation and more faith and more exhaustion than any other request. I want to speak directly to that thing today, by name in your heart, even if not out loud in this message. That thing is not outside my awareness. It is not something I have been meaning to address and have not yet gotten around to. It is not a request that slipped through the cracks or a prayer that got lost in the volume of what I am managing. It is something I hold with complete and constant awareness, with full knowledge of what it means to you and why it matters and what it would produce in your life if it arrived. And I want you to hear me say this about it directly. It is still coming. The fact that it has not arrived yet is not the final word on whether it will. My delays are not denials, and the length of the wait is not a measure of the likelihood of the answer. Sometimes the most important answers take the longest, not because I am indifferent to the waiting, but because what I am building around the answer requires time that the answer itself cannot shortcut. The thing you are waiting for is still in motion. It is still being prepared. And when it arrives, it will arrive with everything it needs to last. I also want to say something about the secondary dreams, the ones that live around the edges of the central one. The things you would also love to see happen, but that you have placed lower on the list, either because they feel less urgent or because you did not want to ask for too much. I see those too. I see the full picture of what your heart has been carrying, not just the headline, but everything underneath it. And I want you to know that my provision in this next season is not going to be stingy. I'm not bringing you the bare minimum of what you asked for and nothing else. What I am releasing into your life in this season is generous. It is the kind of provision that addresses not just the central prayer, but the surrounding ones as well, that touches not just the one thing, but the whole landscape of what you have been hoping for. I am not a God who gives in portions when abundance is available. And abundance is what I have prepared for this season of your life. Receive it, all of it, without guilt and without the instinct to make it smaller than it is, because large blessings feel uncomfortable when you have been living in scarcity for a long time. Let it be large. Let it be full. Let it be everything I intended it to be. You do not have to earn the right to receive it generously. I give generously because that is who I am, and you are someone I love. Which means the generosity has your name on it. I want to close by telling you what I need from you in this season, as specifically as I can. I need you to stay in position. I know the waiting has been long. I know the staying has cost you something. I know there have been moments when leaving, giving up, scaling back, going in a different direction would have been entirely understandable given everything you have been through. But I need you to stay, not out of obligation, not out of a fear of what happens if you go, but because what I am moving toward your life right now requires you to be exactly where you are when it arrives. The thing I am releasing is looking for you in the place I told you to stand. Do not move. Do not downsize. Do not talk yourself into a smaller version of the life I showed you just because the full version has taken longer than you expected. Stay with the full version. Stay with the large hope. Stay with the unedited dream. And stay with me. Because what I am about to do is going to require all of who you are, and all of who you are becoming, and all of what this season has been building in you. It is going to require the version of you that was forged in the waiting. That version is exactly what the next chapter needs. And it is ready. You are ready. And I am moving. I want to leave you with one image before we pray, because I think it will help you carry what I have said today in a way that is practical and real. Picture a river that has been building behind a dam for a long time. The water has been accumulating quietly, invisibly, without drama, without the kind of visible activity that announces itself. From the outside, it looks still. From the outside, it looks like nothing is happening. But the pressure has been building. The volume has been growing. And there comes a moment, not because of any single new thing, but because the accumulation has finally reached the point where the holding can no longer contain what has been gathered, when the dam opens and everything that has been building is released all at once. That is the picture of what is happening in your life right now. The blessing has been accumulating. The promise has been filling up behind the patience. The faithfulness has been adding to the volume. And the release is coming, not a trickle, not a careful measured allowance, a release that is proportional to how long it has been building, proportional to the faith you have maintained and the prayers you have prayed and the holding on you have done in the quiet seasons when no one else was watching. What is coming is large because what has been building is large. Get ready to receive it. Open every door. Clear every space. Make room for everything I am about to bring, because it is on its way, and it is more than enough. And I want to say one last thing to you, plainly and without decoration. I have never once looked at your life and thought it was too small for what I intended. I have never once looked at the distance between where you are and where the dream lives and considered revising the dream downward. I have never once looked at the length of the wait and decided the promise was no longer worth keeping. I look at your life and I see exactly what I always saw. The full thing, the complete version. The life I designed before you were born, still intact, still on its way, still as large and as real and as specifically intended for you as it was the moment I first imagined it. Nothing about what I planned for you has shrunk. And I am not finished yet, not even close. Get ready, my child. What is coming is not what you feared. It is what I promised, and it has your name on it. Let us pray together. Lord Jesus, I come to you right now on behalf of every heart that is hearing this message. You know, the one who has been carrying a dream they almost stopped believing in. You know, the one who has been editing their prayers down to a safer size because the full-sized hope felt too risky. You know, the one who is sitting right now with something stirring in them that feels like faith trying to come back to life, fragile and tentative but real. Meet them there, Lord. Let the truth of what you are about to do land in them with the weight it deserves. Restore the full-sized hope. Rebuild the unguarded expectation. Speak directly to the part of them that has been afraid to believe for the large thing, and tell them what you told me to tell them today, that what is coming is worth the hope it requires, that you are moving, that the season is turning, and that the best of what you promised is still ahead. Give them the courage to stay in position. Give them the strength to hold the large dream one more day. And let them feel today the excitement of a God who is not finished, who is not slowing down, who is not revising the plan to something smaller, but who is getting ready to move in ways that are going to leave them breathless with gratitude. In Jesus' name, Amen. If this message stirred something in you today, type "I am ready, Lord" in the comments, and share this with someone who needs to be reminded that God is not done with their story. The best is not behind them, it is still coming. And it is closer than they think.